Hello and welcome to Birth of a New Dimension. My name is Aurora, and I'm a galactic walk-in and also a visionary artist. On this week's episode, I will be speaking about my online class, Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans, why I do it, where it came from, and why you should participate in it. Brief pause. So for those of you who are familiar with my story, I wasn't always this articulate with verbal language. When I first came into this body as a walk-in, I was always drawing pictures and always drawing these repetitive patterns that I perceived with my internal vision. And I wasn't yet able to describe the significance of these patterns to other people in this time and place. So I did extensive drawings. I filled up notebooks and notebooks and notebooks, and eventually organized and turned it into a system of paintings. And when people would come to my studio and look at the paintings that I had produced, I thought, well, this is just so evident. I thought everyone can clearly, easily see the patterns, what I now call the harmonic structure, but which I didn't have the words to describe then. But it just seemed that it would be so intuitively clear to anyone who observed my paintings that there was a language, a syntax, a structure, and an interior logic to the images. And I had to learn that that actually wasn't the case. That people did not just intuitively, innately get and understand and grok on a deep level the significance of the patterns that I was creating. I started to understand that in order to really communicate the information that I have on an interior level, it became necessary to become more articulate. And so that's the condensed 15-year journey, basically. I spent many, many years working on my artwork in solitude and, gestating these ideas. And then in 2013, really felt that it was the right time. It was no longer time to wait at all because of the consciousness portal that our world has gone through in 2012. So in 2013, I organized these ideas into a formal approach, into a formal presentation. Prior to this, I had done very informal presentations on community television over in Woodstock, New York, where I lived, and some short videos on a free video sharing system. I got very good feedback from that way of sharing, so I created a formalized system. And I did this also because I understood that the information that I'm sharing is like a language, and you begin with the basics, the ABCs. And in this language, we don't call it geometry, and I have spoken about that also. The word geo means earth, and metric means to measure. And geometry came from, the ancient realm in Egypt when the flooding of the Nile would destroy their boundaries of what their farmland was each year. They had to redraw those boundaries each year. And in order to keep it fair, they had to develop a system of literally measuring earth so that everyone would get their proper proportion of what the crops are grown. The concepts that I present and that we are exploring here, these are higher dimensional concepts. They are beyond merely the measuring of the physical realm. This is developing a language structure that we can use in order to apply to the realm of pure consciousness or awareness or timelines or possibilities and probabilities. So I created this class because it became apparent to me that there was more information than I could comfortably share in, let's say, a 20-minute visit to my studio. People would come to my studio and I would just inundate them with a lot of new ideas and new concepts. And I could see that it was not the most effective way to feed people. That you don't just give someone a giant, plate full of lasagna and make them eat it all at once. It's much more comfortable and fun to have lasagna in sensible bites. So that is what I did, Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. I created lessons that are 1 hour long, but they're broken up into 2 half-hour segments, and they go through a sensible trajectory of presenting this information. So in terms of learning, when we learn from the cosmos is like a book. We're like living in a living library. The cosmos is a book, and we access it with our awareness or with our third eye. In order to experience truth and draw the correct conclusions, it's necessary to have that information presented in the proper order. So it would not be factual if we read page 5, then skipped to page 75, and then skipped back to page 1, and then went to the glossary. That would give us a very erroneous idea of what's going on. Or if we took 2 words off of page 1 and then skipped and took 10 words off of page 75, all of that is not presenting the information in order and in a comprehensive fashion. And this is what I'm really trying to do here. So I begin with, in my online class, the basic understanding that we have energetic anatomy. These are the non-physical aspects of self that surround and interpenetrate the physical body that we're all aware of. We can touch it, we can see it, we can smell it, we can share it with other people very easily. So the other aspects of self can be described as the interior realm. It's your realm of thoughts and feelings and imagination and willpower and heart and spirit, and it's also the world of time, the world of possibilities and probabilities that are uncollapsed waveforms that we can't yet experience because they're not a set of hard-edged objects in reality yet. So all of this, I speak here on the radio each week, and I feel like I'm only able to present to you the very tip of the iceberg, one aspect of this teaching with my voice. I like to say I paint a picture with my voice, because so much of these concepts, so many of these concepts rather, have to do with visual representation. And so, the wiring of this body and who I am as a person tends to be very visually oriented. And so when abstract cosmic truth comes through me, primarily it comes as drawings and paintings and sculptures and what I can see and share with the visual sense. However, it is also an auditory understanding. Right here with my little instrument, play a lovely note. We can also understand these cosmic patterns of consciousness and waveforms as relating to the waves of music. And this is why the best word to use to describe this language is harmonics. Harmonics being the understanding of waveforms and intervals and how that creates patterns. So at an art show that I was doing in 2004, so this is, oh my goodness, so many years ago at this point, I had a glass piece, which I still have pictures of. The original piece broke, and a person came up to me and they said, "You are painting harmonics," and I didn't even know what the word meant. So of course I went home, I looked it up, I self-educated, and this is me sharing my trajectory of consciousness. So much of this has to do with visual drawings and diagrams, and that is how I run the class. I have a wonderful program that is an interactive whiteboard where I upload images of my artwork, my original, hand-painted artwork, and then I record lessons, just like I speak on the radio here, that record my voice. They also record an image of my pen drawing diagrams on top of my original artwork. And when I do this, I can speak with pictures. And it's like untying the hand that is tied behind my back. If I need to describe the time vortex to you, I'm able to draw it as a picture, and I'm able to show you with the motion of the pen as I'm drawing where your consciousness is going, where you are traveling. So if the topics that I speak about here on the radio each week are interesting to you, please understand that you are only getting a tiny little taste of what the full lasagna is, and that it is much more multisensory and much more multidimensional, and probably a lot easier for you to understand some of these concepts that are their math concepts, their higher dimensional concepts, they're graphically depicted. So this is why I make my paintings. When I make my paintings, it's not just for self-gratification or relief of my own boredom. Each painting I intentionally make in order to contain information in this higher dimensional language of pure vibration. So the earliest paintings that I did are very simple, and they just show the calibration of light waves. And we relate as physical beings to these light waves because we have a light body. Or you could also think of it as a time body, or as a body that is made of nothing but pure consciousness. And your light body, or your time body, or your body of pure consciousness has a form to it. It is organized, just like your physical cellular structure has anatomy and organization, and has to have that sense of organization in order to be alive. If we took all of the cells of your physical body and stuck them in a blender and blended it up on high speed, we would say you don't conform to the pattern of harmonic consciousness in the cosmos, and we would also say you are dead. It's exactly the same with the organizational principles that apply to your non-physical, higher dimensional aspects of self. You have energetic anatomy, meaning you have layers of your being. So I don't just love rainbows because they're pretty. I love rainbows because they relate to this basic foundational truth of energetic anatomy. And I'll play it with the music while we go up the chakras. We begin with the first basic level of reality, the physical level, starting with the C. This would be analogous to red in the rainbow. We're all familiar with the physical realm. When we go up one level, when I say up, I mean raising the frequency. When I say frequency, what am I speaking about? This is part of Lesson 2 in Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. The idea of relating wavelength and frequency, which are science words, and science doesn't necessarily recognize the realm of pure consciousness, to the realm of pure consciousness. So frequency is how many wavelets pass a fixed point, and your wavelength is how big the wave is. So when we begin with red, we're beginning with the biggest wave. Red has the longest wavelength, and this is your physical presence. It is the, let's say, most massive aspect of who you are. But when you raise your frequency and go up to the next level on the ladder of consciousness, you're at the level of orange. So this is at the level of your guts. It's why people get a gut instinct on something. This is also the intelligence of the microbial realm, of, the microbes that help you to digest your food in your belly. These are the mammalian emotions. And when I speak about evolutionary biology, I speak about the development that is evident in your biology. So the red chakra, the red energy center at the base of your spine, this is the primary first lesson that we learn, which is how to be alive. Kill or be killed. Can I be alive? Can I survive? And this is analogous to the brainstem that just keeps you breathing. On top of that, you have the mammalian brain. That's what this orange D note is. And these are mammalian emotions. Mammals learned the survival value of working together in community. Each one of us at some point will find a rock that is too heavy for us to lift on our own, or a task or a challenge, and we have to enlist the aid of those around us. We need community. We need to collaborate. This is the lesson of the mammalian world. And so we have emotions that mitigate our pure fight for survival. Like me, gets mitigated into let's all work together, and how do we share? And the mother learns to share with its offspring, and family learns to care for one another, and community learns to care for one another. And on top of that, we have the yellow level. This is when we get to the level of the solar plexus, what is known as the human mind, and what I often refer to as a hacked operating system. And this is analogous in your brain to the highly convoluted outer surface of your brain, the cerebral cortex. It's where conscious daily waking thought occurs, and what humans define as thought that makes you human, okay? And for many, many years, those three aspects of self, and I'm talking about 10 or 15,000 years, the entire span of recorded human history, those three aspects of self, body, mammalian emotion, and human mind, have been the definition of what it is to be human and your limitations. And I am here to tell you that becoming a full spectrum human means that you claim all of these other layers that are up above those basic foundation layers, because you're more than just a body with mammalian emotions and a little bit of human mind making the whole thing walk around. You're also at the level of the chest, heart. This is unconditional love, and it's not just an airy-fairy New Age ideal. It's not a hippie concept. It's not something where you feel like you want to hug people or take them out to a restaurant and impregnate them. This is non-romantic love. Love in terms of pure acceptance. I accept you as you are. I love and accept you and this energy and this world exactly as it is. And this used to be the pinnacle of achievement for yogis and saints and masters. However, I am here to tell you that that is like the foundation of who we are supposed to be as full spectrum humans. Because on top of that foundation of unconditional love, which is literally a whirling vortex of energy. I draw these pictures in the class and you can see, hey, that looks just like a foundation of energy. The apparatus that rests on top of there is what I call your higher faculties. It's your throat chakra, your eye of insight, and your crown chakra, which is your connection to the divine. Those three chakras or energy centers or aspects of your anatomy are what we are here to cultivate at this time. What I can help you and guide you in, in terms of telling you what the anatomy does, how to use it, and how to cultivate it. It's just like when you have a personal trainer that shows you, this is your trapezius muscle, and this is your gluteus maximus muscle, and helps you to learn how to flex your muscles so that you can build your own body. That is the purpose of my online class, to make you aware of your own energetic anatomy, to cultivate your own energetic anatomy, and then to transform yourself into a flying rainbow lasagna. I have spoken on this broadcast many times about how I'm one flying rainbow lasagna, but I'm not the only one that will ever exist. Oh, no. Ah, ha, ha, ha. No, we are all transforming into a one big giant flying rainbow lasagna along with Earth, along with the sun, along with the cosmos. This is the new dimension that we are giving birth to. Brief pause. So the way that you transform into a flying rainbow lasagna is first by receiving new information. Information changes us on a genetic level. This is the idea of epigenetics, that every time you are exposed to any thought or idea, or a person speaks to you or plays music at you or any kind of thing, that is changing you on a genetic level, because your genes are not just the blueprints that say, what is your toe going to be shaped like, or how long is your finger bone, or how many teeth do you have. Your genes are a bridge of light between the realm of uncollapsed waveforms of probabilities and possibilities, the higher dimensional realm, and this realm of hard-edged objects. I'm touching a table right now that we can actually touch with our finger, that we can actually experience. Profound understanding here. And I use a lot of sculptures and drawings in my online class in order to depict what your genes are doing, because your genes are not static objects. They're constantly moving and dancing and vibrating. And one of the cool things about my online class is that it's not just recorded information. I schedule regular video conferences where we gather together as a class. You can see me, you can see my face, and you can hear my voice, of course, and you can also see what I am drawing on my virtual whiteboard so that I can use this visual language and not just my voice. And I can also see each student. Students can ask questions either verbally or through a little chat box, And I'm saying this because some webinars are not interactive. You're just a lump and you just sit there and absorb information, and that's great. But the whole idea is that you have been accessing the recorded lessons and then you assemble in the virtual classroom with the video conference so that we can actually talk about all of these ideas. And I gain a great deal from the insight and energy of the class participants. This is something that I learned early on in the first year that I started to do the presentation. It's not just sending out a message in a bottle, you throw it over the edge of your boat and hope that it gets out there and someone finds it. It is actually getting feedback and having people say, this is interesting, I understand this, or I don't understand this, please tell me more about this, or people relating their own personal journey to the information which I'm able to share. So in the class, I've met people who have had awakenings, who have recognized or come to the realization of their own heritage coming from the stars, their own ancestry being connected to the galaxy and the stars. I've had people that have related the visual artwork and diagrams that I speak about to what they saw during an ayahuasca voyage. And I even like to jokingly, playfully describe my class as it's like flight school for ayahuasca voyages. If you're going to go on an entheogenic trajectory, if you're going to blast off with your interior spaceship, it is good first to do some training and find out about the landscape or the atmosphere into which you will be blasting off. This is understanding the interior realm. So, and also, when you take an entheogen like ayahuasca or LSD or something like that, you are spontaneously activating these higher faculties. Your eye of insight, this is the third eye at the forehead level, connected to the divine and powered by unconditional love and speaking truth. This is really the cosmic teacher. So in my class, I am the physical teacher. Really, I try to present the information in the order that the cosmos presented it to me, because that is reading the book from page 1 to page 2 to page 3 and onward, as opposed to jumping around and presenting things in a non-factual, non-comprehensive way. So I present this information comprehensively. We begin with these layers of your body. I get into meditation techniques, and again, none of this is original to me. There are meditation schools that have been on Earth for thousands of years helping people to cultivate unconditional love. That's at that level. Unconditional love is silence. It is interior, nonverbal silence. It is mindfulness. It is mindlessness in terms of not activating the human operating system of the mind. And unconditional love is like an exercise that you have to learn to be able to do in order to do the higher dimensional exercises. I have also described unconditional love as a prerequisite for matriculation or enrolling into the cosmic university. This is because when you start to access information through your higher faculties, you have to have the emotional resilience to accept and understand what you are seeing. So many people have activated third eyes and they see things on an anthropomorphic level that are really ugly. It might be like, hey, so-and-so is a sexual abuser. You might not want to know that about so-and-so. So you say, I cannot hear that or know that about so-and-so. You literally close your heart so as not to perceive that truth about so-and-so. That is so very inconvenient. So the very first part of this is cultivating unconditional love and achieving the emotional resiliency in order to activate the higher faculties. It's all part of it, understanding the landscape. So you understand also that you are not separate from this landscape, this energetic landscape. The proportions that your chakras exist in, if I didn't say it already, your chakras are spinning wheels of energy that exist as non-physical anatomy on the non-physical part of your body. Your chakras are shaped like two donuts at 90-degree angles to one another, or toroids, And this matters because the Flying Rainbow Lasagna is the shape that you achieve when you add an additional dimension to that basic chakra shape. So the concept of the Flying Rainbow Lasagna is what I get into in the later lessons after I've created this foundation of understanding. You have a non-physical energy body. It's made of these layers. These layers are also organized according to mathematical principles. So lots of people now understand that your physical anatomy is organized according to math. This is the concept of phi, P-H-I. This is a Greek letter that refers to Phidias. Phidias was a wonderful architect from ancient Greece who created the design for the Parthenon. And the Parthenon contains what are really considered to be divine proportions. And these divine proportions are also echoed in the natural world. You can see them in the nautilus shell, the swirling seed pattern at the center of a sunflower, and also in your own body. The proportion of your leg bone, your shin bone, to your thigh bone is 1 to 1.618. Same thing with your smallest knuckle length to your second smallest knuckle length, 1 to 1.618. And this phi proportion, it's actually an oscillation that hones in on a particular waveform. So we're understanding that in order to be alive in the physical realm, your physical body has to achieve a state of health and vitality, and it does so by conforming to certain patterns. Arranging the physical cells of your body in these patterns keeps you healthy and alive. Well, there are also patterns that exist in the non-physical realm that we are supposed to conform to in order to continue to be healthy and alive. And I speak about this extensively each week. I use the analogy of the great musical score of the cosmos. And that we are like musicians, our body is our instrument, and when we are in tune, we're playing the right notes, we're thinking the right thoughts at the right time, in conjunction with the great conductor. And this also has to do with our consciousness emanating from the source of consciousness and returning to the source of consciousness, all on the beat, all as part of this music. So learning these mathematical proportions can help you to be more healthy and more vital and achieve greater longevity. And the way that I teach these mathematic proportions is by using artwork and color. Like, this is why I'm so interested in the rainbow. And it's also why there's so much of it that cannot merely be described with a voice on the radio. So much of it has to do with, the visual structure of light. That you, as a light body, are an emanation of the stars. The sun. The sun is a giant ball of light hanging right above our heads, and it is emanating consciousness, possibilities and probabilities in the form of timelines, and light. And our body, that is beyond the physical body, our non-physical body, connects to the sun and the network of stars, the stellar network, on these bridges of light through your genetic structure. So, on this radio program, I speak extensively each week about the genetic squashing, a light-hearted way of describing something that was tragic, traumatic, a foundation-level abuse event that happened to humanity and to Earth about 10 or 15,000 years ago. Changed everything and reduced our capacity to use our higher faculties, these three notes in our musical instrument, and created disease and created death as opposed to ascension. And so now I get into the Flying Rainbow Lasagna and its profound significance. This is a tool that you can use to reshape your genes. And I'm here to teach people all about it. It wasn't enough for me as, an inventor to just invent something and throw it out there and be like, here, take it, run with it, do whatever you want with it. It matters to me so much that the concept of the Flying Rainbow Lasagna is made available to everyone and is applied in the right way and is well utilized, that I literally came here in the physical body to use this physical voice to describe it to you and to give it to you personally, not merely to be in a higher dimensional realm and wave my magic wand and poof, send you some lasagna energy, or create an oscillation in a higher dimensional space, but to really come into a physical body and change the genetic structure of this physical body and give you an example of what can be done with this Flying Rainbow Lasagna maneuver. It is like a dance maneuver that I am doing with the genes of this body. We are all affecting one another on a genetic level. Everyone who's here, we are all musicians. We are all part of the cosmic symphony. And every thought, every word, every emanation, even if you never said anything or did anything and just existed in a vegetative state in a bed, you would still be affecting other people's genes. So I come here as a walk-in into this physical body to play some new musical notes and to not only rearrange my genes, but to affect the genetic structure of the other people that are here. And not just other people, it's the entire planet. This is the tool that our entire planet can use to reascend our consciousness, to rectify the genetic squashing that occurred so tragically and that caused so much suffering. The Flying Rainbow Lasagna is literally the opportunity to end suffering, not only in the physical, organic beings that are here on Earth, but also those occupiers of the interstices that have been stuck, like I joke, turds circling the bowl that just can't quite seem to flush. These are the consciousnesses that emanated from the source, but not on a bridge of love. Well, guess what? I have a whole entire 4-part lesson, lesson 18, that I recorded 3 years ago, and then a supplemental advanced 2-part lesson that I recorded last year that is all about our origins of consciousness and gives the, let's call it the galactic backstory as to why that genetic invasion happened, where those invaders came from, the significance of changing what happened on Earth and how we can transform this. And I chose to make that lesson 18 of a 20-lesson class because I didn't want to start off with the concept that, hey, everyone in humanity, you've all been horribly mind-raped and bullied for thousands of years. Your entire society is a sham. Your economy is nothing more than, like a prison that you are intended to live within in order to diminish your consciousness. That's such a bleak outlook. I did not want to begin with that paradigm. I wanted to begin with teaching people about their own anatomy and their own capacity to cultivate love, because that is really what empowers us. Looking at the world and understanding the things that are out of balance is very important. We need to do that. It's like looking at the garden. I'm in my garden right now. It's important to look around and see if there are any weeds that need to be pulled up. However, when you're in your garden, focus on the flowers. You have to focus on the beauty that is there and what you have intentionally cultivated and what you wish to be there, because those are the things that will actually continue to grow. So in my class, I start off by asking everyone to focus on the flowers and cultivate unconditional love. And then when we've got that good momentum going, I get into, the origins of the conflict and where this really comes from. And I also want to say I recorded and started doing this presentation of information in 2013. And my goodness, it is now 2016, and there's been profound change on Earth's surface, not on Earth's surface too, in consciousness in general and in human consciousness. So I used to not just teach about the Merkaba because I didn't want that to be taken out of context. In the past 3 years, that information has become widely disseminated, and I'm now not as concerned that a person would just stumble upon that lesson out of context and It's like, getting a magic wand without a good lesson in how to use it and how to be loving and make things that are loving creations. That's what I was most concerned about, and I'm a responsible teacher. I don't just want to give someone a stick of dynamite and say, "Now, here's your stick of dynamite, now go play." That's not the intention here. The intention is to empower each one of us as a divine mini co-creator and have each person be an artist making their divine artwork. That's what we're really here for. So all of this matters because we are facing the transhumanist agenda. And this is not a new agenda, but it's just been rolled out to crisis proportions at the moment. Whether or not you can use your own mind, use your own willpower, and manifest the life events that you wish to manifest is severely in question. And this is because there is an agenda that is trying to usurp your will and usurp your imagination and your creative capacity. So first up, that's very good news, because that tells you that your imagination and willpower and creative capacity are so valuable that they are threatening to the people that are in power, or to the consciousnesses that are currently in power. That your little old imagination, little old you, plus the paintbrush of your imagination, is so threatening to the status quo and the power structure that it does not want you to know about your innate powers. The power structure that exists right now wants to keep you, let's say, disengaged from your higher consciousness and swimming around in the electromagnetic smog fear factory that is created by the media and by lower level social consciousness. And what I really encourage everyone to do is, seriously, turn off the television, get away from mainstream media, connect directly to the stellar network. And this also speaks to non-religiousness. I have a whole lesson that is all about Christ consciousness, not Christian religion and the dogma of that religion. And I have to tell you that we need to make this distinction, because Christ consciousness is an aspect of your energetic anatomy and your own connection to the divine. And it is not limited to what your religion is. You can be a part of Christ consciousness if you are atheist, if you are pagan, if you are Hindu, if you are Christian, if you are Jewish, if you have no affiliation with any kind of religion. It's like saying you have an eyeball. Your eyeball can look around. Your eyeball is Christ consciousness. It is the eye that is in the center of your forehead. So now you must understand all of the religious propaganda of the past 2,000 years. This is a software program that has been implanted in your mind, in your hardware, to make you not connect directly to the source. If you think you have to have an intermediary, someone who will intercede on your behalf, a saint or a Lord or a Jesus or anybody whom you have to pray to, that is the era that we are leaving. We are leaving that time. Just like maybe when you were a little toddler, you had to ask your mommy and daddy if you were allowed to have a cookie. Can I have a cookie? But at a certain point in your development and in your maturity, you gained the capacity to eat cookies when you want to. And now you can eat a cookie whenever you want. You don't have to ask mommy and daddy. This is with our creative capacity, an analogy that spreads to our creative capacity. In earlier eras of development of consciousness, we were like little toddlers. Mommy, daddy, can I please have this? Can I please do this? Can I make this thing happen? Can we have this thing happen? And the mommy or daddy or whomever we were supplicating ourselves to was a religious figure, an external authority figure, a politician, a leader. That era is over. We have graduated. This is what happened in 2012. It's what happened in 2000. We graduated. We turned the corner. We ended that age or that era, and we are now in a new cosmic era. So in this new cosmic era, or in this new age, we now gain emotional maturity. We now gain the freedom to use our paintbrush of our imagination, our divine, innate creative capacity. This is the big secret that the powers that be have been trying to prevent you from accessing. Because if you could paint your own vision of reality, would you paint yourself to be an impoverished and downtrodden wage slave who, works all day and then comes home and watches TV and drinks beer at night? No, of course not. If you had the paintbrush of your imagination, you would imagine yourself in a totally empowered, happy, fun existence where you're never bored. Today it's time to go water skiing, with beautiful supermodels. And then tomorrow we're going to write a rock song and sing it on a stage. And then the next day we're going to learn about permaculture and plant a food forest. It's like you would be able to create and do whatever you wanted to do. I used those as arbitrary examples, but I would like for you to begin flexing the muscles of your imagination and say, if money were no object, what would you be doing with your time? If money were no object, what would you be doing with your consciousness? This is the whole idea. I've said this before. The program states, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. This programs you to understand that even though you wish for something, you don't get it. Even though you have innate desires and an imagination, you're not going to get what you imagine. But that's not true, because there are some people that actually get what they imagine. So now we understand that you are a powerful, divine, mini God. And I'm not telling you that you have to give up on God or give up on true spirituality. I'm saying you should give up on organized religion and the doctrine that has been taught to humans to keep humans in a disempowered state. So I get into all of this in non-religious Christ consciousness, where basically you're taught about the relationship between the chakra on your forehead and the chakra on the top of your head, your brow and your crown chakra, and that the partnership between these two aspects of your anatomy allows you to control your trajectory through time. And if you want to be on the timeline where, tomorrow you're going water skiing on a beautiful beach, then you have that capacity. Each one of us has, this capacity to do that. It is a question of learning to control our capacities. It's like saying each one of us with our voice. If you cultivate your voice, you could sing like a beautiful opera star, or you could learn to sing in overtones and harmonics. It is up to you to cultivate your voice. And there are many, there's a whole program that is afoot right now that is to say, not only that it's not possible to cultivate yourself to these levels, but you're not allowed to. And then the electromagnetic fields and other forms of artificial, the toxins, the pollution. There's electromagnetic pollution and actual physical particles. And all of these things, this is all the plot to keep you from contacting your own higher self and your own divinity. I speak in my online class also about ascension, that we are right now at the point and with the planet of coming to ascension. And ascension should not be confused with the literalist biblical Christian rapture. Just need to drink water. Not the literalist rapture, where the evil sinners are cast down into hell and good people float upward, hopefully not wearing a skirt with no underpants. The ascension is raising of your vibration of your physical body to the point where you are no longer a part of the physical world. It is a maneuver of your consciousness. It is a cultivation of your consciousness to the point where you can jump out of this level of reality. This is what I speak about when I talk about an electron getting out of this shell of excitation and making the leap to the next electron shell. When we ascend, when we make that leap to the next electron shell, and I usually draw a picture of what this looks like so that you can really understand it. When you make that connection. It is like making a physical circuit, like an electronic circuit. And you have a thought. And the thought is, I am God. Not that Aurora is God. Each one of us, when we make that circuit, has the thought, I am God. And that is ascension. We are coming from the source of consciousness, emanated into the physical realm, and then reconnecting our consciousness to the source that emanated us. It's nothing fancier than that. Nothing fancier and more special than an unbroken circuit of consciousness. In order to do that, we need to rearrange our genes into what they were meant to be. And in order to do that, we're talking about changing the dream of the planet. Our planet started having a nightmarish experience about 15,000 years ago. Earth stopped being able to imagine these beautiful possibilities where all life on Earth works together in beautiful harmony, and started to experiencing dissonance, notes that don't fit together, people that fight wars unnecessarily, people that pollute unnecessarily, this level of destruction, this level of lack of abundance, the idea that anybody on Earth would be starving. That is not Earth's dream at all. Earth wants to dream a dream of total health and total abundance for every single life form that is here and that is associated with this planet. This is like saying, I, myself, as an individual physical being, want all of the cells of my physical body to be happy and healthy. I literally don't want to have a gangrenous infection anywhere on my body. Yeah, that would feel really yucky. I wish to be in a state of total health. Earth wishes to be in a state of total health, but unfortunately, for about the past 15,000 years, she's had a gangrenous infection. And right now, this moment in cosmic history is when this is being healed. And healing means coming to wholeness. It means looking at the origins of where this came from and fixing it on a foundation level. So the origins of where these difficulties or present difficulties came from, I get into in Galactic History. This is lesson 18 of the Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans class. And when we heal that rift and that foundation trauma, we also begin to experience non-duality. So I speak about this each week, how the Flying Rainbow Lasagne is the physical representation of non-duality. When you embody it, when you use that Flying Rainbow Lasagne shape on a subcellular level to make your genes vibrate in a new pattern, you become a part of this non-dualistic world. It means we're moving beyond good and evil. Good and evil, these are programs that came from biblical literalism that have been causing a great deal of suffering. And the suffering, again, I'm not an apologist for the demons that occupy the interstices and have caused so much suffering on Earth. I'm not an apologist for them at all. When I describe the situation, I give all of the information that you need in order to be compassionate. So this is what we learn. Every villain has a backstory. What made that person into who they are? Why are they acting the way they are acting? Why do demons do what they do? Knowing this, learning this, empowers you. And it empowers you in a loving way, where you don't just have to sit there and be abused by demons, and because that is not love. Oh, let me say that. Exerting a healthy boundary is love. Enabling inappropriate behavior is not love. And the demons, the occupiers of the interstices, these are like naughty, naughty people that have been doing naughty things and not conforming to the musical score of the cosmos. We're all playing along with the symphony, and they're playing horrible, out of tune, sour notes. And we heal this with non-duality. Literally, and how do we do this also? You do it on an individual basis, and when enough of us do this on an individual basis, we achieve the collective consciousness doing this, and the planet is doing this herself, and the sun and the stellar network is doing this themselves, or are doing this themselves. We, as consciousness, are transforming into a higher dimensional state. That's what I mean when I say birth of a new dimension. It is analogous to death or the transformation process of ascension, because there's no back there to go back to. We are leaping off of this precipice into a new world, in the same way that if you die and you leave your physical body behind, the body is dead, the body is gone. You cannot go back to the body. The body is decomposed. It's a place that doesn't exist anymore. You cannot go back. You can only go forward. When I speak about ascension, this is the alternative to physical death. So we do not have to experience the physical death of the planet. Yes, there is a profound biblical literalist program in the end of the Bible, the book of Revelation, that everything has to be destroyed in order for everything to be renewed. And that is not accurate. We can transition. We don't have to have our physical cellular body die. You know, as consciousness, you leave your body, you see your body die, and then you quote unquote get to go to heaven. You don't have to do that. You can kindle your body into a higher dimensional state. When you add energy to the cellular structure of your body, you raise the frequency of the cellular structure. I did this when I came into this body in 2001 as an abstraction. I came into this physical cellular structure, did the Flying Rainbow Lasagne oscillation, and everything had to be rearranged in light of that. All of these physical cells had to change and, grow in a new way, had to transform. And this is what each one of us has the capacity to do. This is what the planet is doing right now. So the old body of this, this former occupant, her old body, is not dead and decomposing anywhere. Isn't that amazing? That's profound. It died, but it did not die. I came into it as consciousness and vibrated these genes and transformed this organic matter so that it now exists in a higher state and contains my consciousness. And this consciousness has continuity and continues onward. We can all do this, and we are doing this as a planet. Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans, this is like taking some painting lessons instead of just squirting paint out and figuring out how to do it on your own. You can totally figure out how to do it on your own. I'm offering you this class so that we can work together, learn together, and you can achieve inspiration from the people that are around you. It's just like being in an art school. I'm very much about each person being their own unique artist and not imposing an ideal upon your expression, your own unique expression. However, there are certain things that have already been figured out, like how to hold a paintbrush, how to mix colors together, how to wash out your paintbrush effectively so it doesn't get all, hardened up and crudted. These are things that an art teacher can teach you. So I can teach you how to do certain energetic maneuvers and meditations, and then it is up to you to take those maneuvers and concepts and run with them. So how can you find out about Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans? A bunch of ways. You can go to flyingrainbowlasagne.com and click on the tab for the Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans. You can also just do a simple Google search for Flying Rainbow Lasagne University, and that should bring it up. I will also include a direct link to the class on Teachable in the UCY homepage, and understand that you can access, I think I have 4 of the lessons enabled for free preview, so you can actually watch them, find out about some of this basic foundation information, and then if you're into it, enroll in the entire semester, access all of the information, and have the guidance and support structure of speaking to me and other people who are also on the journey along with us. I'll also just tell you very briefly, if you enroll in the class, you can come back in any subsequent semesters. So I have students who return from like my first couple of years of presenting this, because it's a one-room schoolhouse where even after you graduate, you still have ideas and insight that are valuable to everyone who's in the classroom. And so even if you are not able to watch every lesson in order, you can return when it's convenient and good for you. The whole idea is that I'm not like a drill sergeant, and it's not like something that has to be achieved on a certain date or within a certain time frame. It's your personal development, so you should be able to approach it at a pace that is comfortable. And if life happens and you are unable to complete the course, you can always return in a subsequent semester, and you can also return just for fun, just in order to share what you have learned and where you are in your present trajectory of consciousness. Yes, so there are monthly video conferences, and they're organized according to topic. One topic will be health and anatomy. One topic will be the backstory of how we got here, the galactic history. One topic will be the Flying Rainbow Lasagne and your genetic structure. And each one will be advertised, according to its topic. You can go to Lessons for Full Spectrum Humans and check out the lessons that are free preview. I think I have the energetic anatomy and the aspect of how that relates to the Flying Rainbow Lasagne. What I'm trying to say to you here is that this information is so crucial to be available on Earth at this time. Although I like for my life to be sustainable, I like to get paid for the energy that I send out, it's so important to me and to all of us that you simply know about these ideas. Please just go and access the free lessons and expose yourself to this lasagna energy and learn as much as you care to learn. Thank you so much for being with me on this trajectory of consciousness, because I made a choice a long time ago that I didn't want to be one lone lasagna just rotating, in a higher dimensional state. How lonely would that be? I would like to be a lasagna connected to many other Flying Rainbow Lasagnes in a sea of Flying Rainbow Lasagne energy, with all of us like beautiful artists and musicians sharing our ideas, sharing our creative output, creating reality together, having what I envision as a giant dance party, a giant higher dimensional dance party. Oh, and that we have all basically transcended death in joining this dance party, and that we do not require an external authority figure, a religious figure, a theocracy to tell us when to dance or what music to dance to or what steps to do. It's a very big topic. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey, and please join the dance party. Thank you so much.